Hi everyone, it's Chelsea here again with the Queen of Diamonds block of the month with Urban Spools. We are about to talk about month number 2, so I hope you had a great time with month number 1. I know I did, and I'm super excited to show you what month number 2 is going to be about. So come take a look. These are the 2 blocks that we're going to be working on this month. So we have a bit of the same kind of shapes that we were using during the first month, and then we're going to bust out some of the more intricate shapes. So I'm excited to show you about these. So just like with month number 1, here on month number 2, it's going to give us the rundown of exactly what we need. So our templates here, how many we need, and then all of the different fabrics. So I hope you're excited to see all of this new fabric that you didn't have in your kit from last month. So you do get new fabric each month. It's really exciting because a lot of it is going to be newer prints that you haven't seen before. So starting out with this first block right here, one really cool thing about it that you may not know is this fabric right here in these blocks, this is all from one piece of fabric. And the really cool thing about it is it does this ombre effect. So the dark purple is going to be near the selvage, and as it works its way towards the middle, it gets lighter and lighter. So make sure that when you are cutting out these pieces of fabric that you're keeping that in mind. You can make your decision if you wanted to ombre like this from the darker to the lighter on the inside, or you could even reverse it going the other way. I think you get some really cool effect like that. And then I did try to make sure that as I was cutting out these pieces that I was making sure that I was getting some cool images. I wasn't cutting off this cool sun-moon combo. I wanted to make sure that was right in the middle of the block. And then I made sure that these birds were all facing up. But it's going to be totally up to you and what artistic, block that you want to make. So this is going to be the simpler block. This is the first block you should do. It's the first one that comes in month number 2. So you can see some larger pieces, going to be very similar to month number 1. So let's take a look at the second block that we're going to be making. So you can see there's a lot more going on with this. It's really exciting. And I wanted to show you a couple of the tools that I used that really helped me make this be super powerful in the way that it stitches together. So one of the things that I used are these acrylic templates, and you can get these. We do have them. So these acrylic templates all have a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and you can see this white line around the middle. That's what your actual block is going to be the size of. So you can take this and you can set it on top of your fabric and audition different pieces of the image to see what you want to be the focal point of your block. So I chose this little flower right here with the bee, and then made sure that I cut all the way around it to be able to get that. The other cool thing about these acrylic templates is that you can do this neat mirroring effect where if you line up your acrylic on the same piece of the fabric each time, so I made sure to get this bottom line of my triangle on the bottom line of the sunburst right here, and I cut out 6 of them. And then by doing that and going all the way around, I'm able to get this beautiful mirrored effect. So that's really nice. The acrylics really help with that as opposed to trying to set the piece of paper on the fabric and then cutting around that. The other thing I really love the acrylics for is any kind of stripes. I know you had stripes in the first month. We didn't really talk too much about that, but I think we should talk about it now. The acrylics really helped me get my stripes just as I was supposed to, and I'm going to flip the page because these stripes are a little tricky when you're cutting them out. You need to do, and it says so, the pro tips. This is a really important part of the instructions where you are going to need to cut out half of the blocks going in one direction. So let's make sure that we match it up just like that. So half of them looking like this, and then you need to flip your acrylic over it and cut out half of them going like this. That allows you to get this mirror image right here where your stripes end up matching up. So going this way and then this way. And the other way that I was able to make sure that they matched up really nicely is I just ended up setting my diamond template. You can't see it because it is in the seam allowance, but I made sure that my white line here and here was on one of those purple lines. And by doing that, I was able to get the same cut each time. You may notice that on my acrylic templates, I do have this grippy tape right here. This is a cool little hack to keep your acrylic templates from sliding around. And I end up using this surgical tape that I got. I believe I got it at Walgreens or CVS. You can find it in the medical supply section. Usually the package comes with 2 little rolls of tape, and you just peel it off and cut it, and it sticks right on there, and it creates a little grippy that's not going to hurt your fabric, but it will help it kind of stick where it's supposed to. So I really love the acrylics for that. This is your other option. This is that grippy non-slip coating that you can get here at Urban Spools, where you just end up taking off the cap and you spray it on the back. I would recommend spraying it, you know, outside, not inside, around your fabric, but that will give you like a grippy coating on there too. So I think that's really cool. So I just wanted to show you that. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit are going to be, how do we hold these pieces together as we're trying to stitch them? Because I think, especially with these stripes, you want to make sure that they're matching up. It is difficult to hold those 2 pieces of fabric together and stitch them to make sure that they stay lined up. So there are a couple of things that I really like using, and one of them are going to be these sew tights right here. We've got little magnets, and I'll show you. I've got the really big one right here. So they are, this is the big version. So it's a magnet that's right here that ends up having this back silver disc that you can basically, and I'll show you an example, you can basically put one side on one part of your fabric, the other side on your other. So this is the humongous example. You don't want to use this when you're trying to piece it together, because that's a lot of weight to hold. You'll want to use these smaller ones. So I really love using those. It ends up holding these pieces together as I'm stitching. And then especially as you're trying to get around those weird pieces where you end up having to fold your fabric a weird way to get this weird seam that you didn't expect that you would have to sew this Y seam right here. So it holds all of your fabrics and papers together. So I recommend picking up a little pack of these. Or if you want to give them a shot, I really like using these Wonder Clips too. These you just end up clipping your little pieces together. You can even clip them down here and down here. Say if we were, you know, about to sew this line on, you can clip here and then stitch along the top, and that way it won't be in your way as you're stitching. So I really love those. And then of course, this is the big one that I was showing you that I have. So this one is really nice because you can end up putting it, you know, on yourself, and then it can hold all of your things that you need. So your needle minder, I know I have certainly set my needle down and then been like, okay, I don't know where it went. So it can hold your needle while you're getting your new thread out, and it can also hold your scissors. And I wanted to show you, these are some of my favorite scissors. These are the Karen K. Buckley Perfect Scissors. The really nice thing about these is they are super duper sharp, and they come with the little cap to keep them protected. But the best thing about them, I think, is that they're micro serrated, which means they've got little grooves on the end of the blade so that as you are cutting your fabric, they are not allowing the fabric to slide out of the way. They are holding the fabric in place and allowing you to cut the fabric really smoothly and evenly, which I think is really nice. So those are some things that I think are really helpful to make sure that your blocks are turning out super beautiful. And I hope that you guys have a ton of fun, because I think these turned out so great and I can't wait to show you more. Thanks guys, see you soon.